All right, my friends, welcome back to the lab. This one, I'm going to be straight with you. This has been a weird one for me to even sit down and record. And it's not because I don't have anything to say. Honestly, it's probably because I've got too much to say. And I'm feeling this bottleneck inside of my head, like funneling down to my mouth. And it's just a part of where I'm at right now. I'm in a messy season. Like things feel messy. Like legitimately messy. There's nothing polished about what I'm trying to do today. Nothing's perfectly clear. I don't really barely even know what to say. I don't have it all figured out, and here's the 5 steps that I used. I'm in it right now. And I figured that it would be honest to just record like this. Just unkept, a little emotionally all over the place, and metaphorically like staring at the ceiling, trying to gather my thoughts, but recording it while still respecting you as a listener and wanting you to get something out of this. And I'm actually okay with all that, because in the podcast world, you can turn off an episode if it doesn't resonate. That's a very real possibility. And in no way am I encouraging you to turn this off. I'm just thinking that what I have to talk about today matters, and I guess you can turn it off if it doesn't work for you, but I hope you stick around. A lot of us have bought into this idea that, the level up culture that exists within social media and self-development. Your next life, your next level of results, your next chapter, the reinvention of you, it starts when you finally feel ready. I think a lot of us have deceived ourselves into thinking that, knowing underneath it all and feeling it in our intuition, that that's total and utter bullshit. You don't wake up one day feeling clear and motivated and disciplined and inspired and everything is certain and it just works then. Like, none of that is true. And I think more often than not, like, your next level actually, it starts when, where you're at right now just becomes too painful to ignore. You just can't do it anymore. It's that equation that the pain of staying the same exceeds the pain of the effort required to make change. If we dive into that on a deeper level, that's messy. Like, if you're feeling like life is so uncomfortable and these signals of the discomfort are poking you and prodding you in a way that makes you so willing to take action that you don't care about how uncomfortable the action would be because this level of intense mess has to stop, that's when your new level begins. If you listen to last week's episode, I'm in the middle of that right now. I'm separated from a 20-year relationship with a woman to whom I deeply love and respect. I moved into a new place. I'm transitioning one business identity in my former business of Media Automated into my new one, which is Big Picture Labs. I've had a complete physical transformation of my body over the last several months. I want a new story, and I'm doing what I can to get there, but it's messy. And that just lends into the reality that all of us are telling a story. Life is just a story, however we define it. We're always telling a story about our life, about who we are, about what X, Y, or Z means to us, about what we deserve, why things are the way they are. We are constantly in that place of crafting this narrative that gives purpose and meaning to what we're doing. And if we are not consciously writing that story, then our fears will write the story. Our habits will write the story. Our trauma will write our story. The way we avoid things will create characters and pockets and narrative. Our excuses will become plot lines. Something is always writing your story. And that has been hitting me hard lately because I'm in this chapter right now where I can feel it in real time. The big chunks of my old story, pieces that made up my identity, that made up my values, that made up my beliefs and my behaviors, they are unequivocally done. They don't have a place in my new life. I will not indulge them anymore. And as dramatic as that sounds, I mean it. There are parts of me that have died. And it's scary to be in that place because I don't have the same creature comforts. As I said, my wife and I separated. We live in different homes now. Even saying that out loud, there's a lot there. As I've shared, there's a lot of care and love and friendship and history there. There's no villain. She's not my enemy. This isn't one of those simple situations where you go, yeah, that person sucks. I needed to leave. It was horrible. This happened. And obviously, there's none of that. It's so much more nuanced. And I think, even though this way is better, it's harder because I don't have an excuse to lean into the sedation of my anger. I have nothing to be angry about. I have been treated in this separation respectfully and with care. And so it leaves me in a place that's asking different questions, not who's wrong or what's wrong, but what is true for me. And man, that question will mess you up if you've been avoiding it. What is true for me? I think a lot of us, we stay in our stories, not because the stories help or they're right, but just because they're familiar. I think familiarity is one of those things that we overlook as a real deep core human need. I know that certainty is one of the core human needs. And I suppose that a version of certainty or a offshoot of it is familiarity. But even familiarity can suck because it can lull you to sleep in ways that rob you of the best parts of you. I want you to consider that. Let that sink in, that as you look at your life, the familiar parts of what you do and who you surround yourself with and the way that you think and the way that you act and your chosen identity, they can rob you of the best parts of you. Now, if any of you are like me, I know that some of you are exhausted. Not because life is confusing, but because deep down you have been internally resisting the change you know you've needed to make, but you've lacked courage to do it. And that is the most strenuous exertion of unnecessary energy of all of the things we can do to ourselves. To know better and then to not do better out of a combination of what's familiar and what's scary. You already know. And so did I. And I took action, and it served me, and it gave me relief, and it gave me a new vision, but it still is hard. But it's a different type of hard. And you know that for yourself. Maybe it's that you know your relationship needs attention that you haven't given it to. Maybe you know you've neglected your body. That when you get out of the shower and look at your fat ass naked in the mirror, that you feel a sense of shame and guilt, and you know it, but you won't do anything about it because it's familiar. And the devil that you know is always easier than the devil that you don't. And the effort of counting calories and learning and being disciplined about what you eat, that's too big of an ask. But by God, you look like shit and you know it. You know the habits that you have that are costing you peace. You know the parts of your business that suck, that are exposed and broken. And you just think that one extra deal is going to give you the thing you need to fix it all when it doesn't. It's like a dopamine hit. You close that extra deal, you get that revenue in, and all of a sudden, you forgot about the shit that was exposed anyway. And all of these things are connected to a reality that you're playing smaller than you are. You are not allowing yourself to embrace the vision of what could be for you because it's hard. But here's the thing. Eventually, the call will come. Whether it be disease or something that's forced upon you, whether it be bankruptcy, whether it be a failed relationship, whatever it is, if you do not take into your own hands the thing you already know needs to shift about yourself, it will come calling, and it will be far more painful in that way than it would be now to do the work that's right in your face to fix your shit. That's what the crossroads of life really are. It's not like we get to this point where there's a Y in the road. There's always an offshoot, an exit ramp for you to go that better route for yourself. But we seem to think that crossroads are this massively dynamic thing, and it's scary and it's dramatic and it's going to ruin everything. We never look at, in our ruminating moments, upward. We only look downward. How bad it could be, the things that could go wrong. We rarely allow ourselves to feel, well, what would happen if this went right? What if I find out that I'm living smaller than I needed to, and I'd make the changes and efforts, and I realize I was destined for more, and that new life is everything I dreamed it could be? What if that is a possibility? What if that is the way to really live in your truth? We don't allow that. Very rarely do people take chances and action from a place of hope. It's most always from fear. And the signs are there. There's tons of little signs in your life right now. Years of misalignment in certain aspects of what you live and do. Years of rationalizing. Years of, it's fine. It's going to get better, I swear. And then when you deal with that enough, then all of a sudden it's like, well, maybe this is just what my life is. Until eventually you hit that moment and something has to change. I want to act like that didn't happen to me, but that's what happened to me. The difficult conversations that led to the decision for my wife and I to separate came from our lease being forced to expire by our landlord because he needed the property back. And it was at a time for us that was really inconvenient with a lot of things. And it forced in the moment for us to address the reality. Are we going to go this new route and be committed to 12, 18, 24 months together in this new place? Or are we going to fix this shit now and do what we know we've needed to do for a long time and separate? So what's the lesson there for you? The lesson is, and I want to drive this home, if you don't address the parts of your life that need to change, eventually life will force you to do it. And that's just reality. You can avoid your health until your body forces it. You can avoid your relationships until reality forces it. You can avoid your finances until reality forces it. But at some point, the bill comes due, and it's not punishment. It's not moral. It's just math. It's consequential. You loaded the one side to where the balance had to shift back, and it's forced. I think for me, what is hitting me in this season is realizing that I don't want life to be written for me anymore. I don't want to be the whim to somebody else's truth in a relationship. I don't want to live in somebody else's world. I don't want to be going after somebody else's goals. I don't want to be compelled to solve somebody else's problems for them. I want to write my own story. to take swift action towards the things that matter to me, and then to take the discomfort as an invitation to increase my capacity to hold on to the experience of living at the top of my life in the very best way. Even if I don't have every answer, even if it's terribly uncomfortable, consciously, I want to be holding the pen for what my life is. I've had an insecurity for a long time about my ability to lead. Starting my group, the lab group experience, has been a big lesson in that for me, reminding me I'm good at leadership. But there's levels to which I can aspire and arrive that make me even that much better of a leader over my own domains and in the lives of others as well. I don't have to be perfect. I just have to do it. And that's one of the things that's staring me right in the face right now. That the best thing I can do for myself to further my life and my business and any of my important relationships is to elevate myself to be the type of man that's undeniable. Not just pretty good, but undeniable. You know, I started this episode talking about a life is messy. In the past, that version of me would consider messy to be a failure. And not allowing myself to feel like I was actually doing it right. Misunderstanding the need for mess. The mess is proof that the old story is breaking apart and that I'm having to learn new things and put together new conclusions to make different choices. And that's actually a really good thing. And that matters for you too. When your life feels messy, what is the opportunity in that mess? What are you going to do about it? How are you going to handle it? You know, if you're identifying with anything that I'm saying right now, I want to remind you of something, that you are not broken. It's just a reminder that the life you're living, your old life, it doesn't work for you anymore. If you're feeling a poke and a prod inside of you for the things I'm saying, it means that there's part of you that needs to die and you've been scared to let him go. And that it's time for you to finally take that action towards what's best for you. Because you will never regret the choice to put yourself first. And that's why everything feels heavy. Because who you've been is not suitable for the life that you're wanting. There's parts of you that cannot come with you if you're going to live the biggest and best life that you want, the best version of yourself. And I can say that to you bearing testimony to its truth. Because as I walk through this path and through this gauntlet, it's very real to me that there's a parts of me that aren't coming along. That old story doesn't play in this new place. And as much as I might have liked that old story or that old version of myself and the way that I navigated and operated in certain ways and it was fun or funny or whatever, I have to put that on the altar to be able to be willing to have the life I actually want and dream of. And I'm also learning that you don't have to let go of the good things. You just have to be willing to in exchange for what's best. And that's where things really become clear for you. And you should ask yourself that question. You should ask, what in my life is no longer true for me? What am I trying to force? What do I wish was true? What am I scared to lose? What's actually true? Because your truth, like that's the foundation of everything. That's so few people arrive at the foundational place where they're just honest with themselves, both good and bad. Where they are willing to acknowledge where you put yourself last, where you elevated things above your own needs that you shouldn't have, where you played small, where you did not dream, where you took upon yourself something that you had no need to do that in exchange for something that didn't give you what you thought it would. That's very real. Now, I'm not pretending that I've mastered this by any means. I'm kind of shooting from the hip because I'm in it right now. And I do know this. I knew that the old story, I put that pin down. There's nothing left I need to learn from that story. It's not going to help me at all anymore. And this new version, this new part is 100% mine. And I'm actually excited to meet that version of myself, to see how much I can achieve, how much I can become, who I can step into that is my best and brightest, and to feel the certainty and the confidence that I did this in the right way without having to go back and redo something. So maybe for you, you don't need to figure out your whole life today. If you're inspired by this, I hope that you take action on this inspiration. You just need to come to a simple, honest conclusion for yourself. What's not true anymore? It's one decision, it's one boundary, it's one act of courage that you take. That's how your story changes. It's just one thing at a time. Decision by decision, truth by truth. And so if you're in this messy season, similar to what I am, I just ask you that you would have grace upon yourself and allow yourself to stick with it while understanding you're going to stumble and fall and get nicked knees and have bruises from the effort, but that's a part of it. To use the analogy of weight training, your muscles do not become stronger in the lifting of the weight. They become stronger in the recovery of it. And so the mess is a part of that recovery because it means something has already broken. And now you're in a place where you're putting the pieces all back together, but you're doing it looking at a new cover of the puzzle box of a life you actually want. That's really all I have to say today. No ad reads, no advertisements for anything I've got going on, none of that. I will just end by saying this. I'm your host, Bryce Prescott, and like I always say, until next time, take it a day at a time. I'll see you.